How's it going, everybody? Welcome to episode 3 of Gaming News and Chill. I am your host, Taylor Latteron, and I know it's been kind of a while since we put out a Gaming News and Chill episode. This is only our third one, but us over at ZeroHp just wanted to kind of get things a little bit organized after the new year. So we're basically rolling out a bunch of new content for you guys, and we wanted to get everything on track. So basically, this is our first episode of the new year, so first of all, Happy New Year to all of you guys out there. And we got a little bit of a short episode for you guys, so for those of you who don't know, basically Gaming News and Chill is either me and another person. We don't have a guest today, it's just me doing it today, and this is going to be an audio-only version of the Gaming News and Chill. Normally what we do is we'll have it streamed on Kevin's Twitch channel, and we usually do the news live, but today is kind of like a recorded one. It's pre-recorded, so it's just going to be me talking to you guys and going through some of the big news stories that came out for this year, this last week or so in gaming. So it's been kind of a slow, but not super slow week. We've got a couple things to talk about that are pretty major, and why don't we go ahead and get it kicked off. So I'm going to go ahead and start out with the first story that's kind of been on everybody's lips lately, is kind of a controversial subject. Personally, I don't think it's a huge one, but basically, Oculus Rift has entered out of its development phase and is now going to be available for purchase with a price tag of $600. So, the first thing that comes to mind is, wow, that's extremely expensive. I don't know how anybody's going to be able to afford that, but I think what the problem with it is not really the price tag, it's the people saying how ridiculous the price is. And first of all, I'll go ahead and say that I don't think it's actually that ridiculous of a price tag, to be honest. $600 is what, I think that was just about how much the PS3 was at launch, like when it first came out. And this piece of, hardware is extremely, it's cutting edge technology. So, I mean, $600, I mean, it is super expensive, don't get me wrong. I'm probably not going to be purchasing one for quite a long time, and I think a lot of people will mostly be waiting until that drops in price. But pretty much the whole gist of it really is that this is cutting-edge technology. Virtual reality is starting to become a huge mainstream wave in the new gaming culture, and I think people are looking forward to that. And you have to keep in mind as well, people putting the time and effort into this technology, it's not going to cost $200. They wouldn't be able to make a return if that were the case. So basically, what I'm saying is that Oculus Rift is cutting edge virtual reality technology, and no matter what, whenever you're buying a console or a piece of hardware at launch, you're always going to be pretty much paying a premium for it. So basically, like every console that's come out, you have PS4, Xbox One, both of them were about $400 when they first released, and then as the years go on, as we've been 2 or 3 years into the console cycle, they'll steadily kind of drop in price. So yeah, that's kind of my look at it. I mean, it is totally expensive, like I said, don't get me wrong, and I think a lot of people should honestly wait for this technology to become a little bit more sustainable and a little bit more affordable until people start buying it en masse. But I think, you'll probably have a couple people who have the money to adopt it, and then other than that, you'll probably see the bulk of people actually buying into Oculus Rift. Probably in the following years to come, the next 2 or 3 years or so. So that way you can do your 3D Minecraft Let's Plays all you want. Alrighty, so that was kind of the first news story, and then we'll go ahead and move on to the second one, which I thought was really interesting as well, is that Activision and Blizzard buys out Major League Gaming, that's MLG for all you noobs out there, for $46 million. Crazy amount of money. I wish I had that much money. But so basically Activision Blizzard buys out Major League Gaming, and I remember Major League Gaming back in the day, and it was just basically like Halo 2 and like Halo 3 tournaments and matches and stuff like that. It's kind of weird to see how it's grown. I haven't really kept on too much with it to see like where it's gone today, but I'm sure it's probably incorporated other other formats of games like League of Legends and probably MOBAs and stuff like that. That's kind of like the new esports scene these days, I think, is MOBAs and stuff like that. So it's really super interesting. One of the quotes, one of the CEOs of Activision Blizzard was quoted saying that he wants to make MLG basically the ESPN of gaming, essentially. And I think that's kind of a super interesting point. And for those of you who don't watch sports out there and aren't, I know there's not too much sports gaming crossover, but ESPN is basically like the biggest sports news channel and sports broadcasting channel on cable TV right now. So I wouldn't expect a lot of people to know, since people are cutting cords every day for cable. So it would make sense if you didn't know. But essentially, yeah, the CEO says he wants to make MLG the ESPN of video gaming and wants to have things streamed live, things going on. It's almost like a sporting event in a weird way, and I think that's kind of cool. And, there's a lot of people on the sports side of things who will say things like, oh, well, video gaming's not a sport. Gaming could never be a sport. It's not athletic. It's not this and that. But nay, I say to the people who say that, I'd say that I think gaming could technically be a sport. I don't think it's an athletic sport, like, at all. But, you have people who are... let's put it this way. I think that games in general, whether it's football, basketball, League of Legends, Halo, whatever you want to call them, games are always competitive. And whenever there's a team playing against another team in an environment where somebody can win and somebody can lose, I'd say that they're both games in that respect. So, I mean, maybe you disagree, maybe you agree. That'd be a great thing to debate about, actually. If you guys want to debate that with me, go ahead and leave what your thoughts are in the comments. Do you think that gaming could legitimately be considered a sport? Do you totally disagree with me and think I'm just an idiot? Maybe. That might be the case. But go ahead and leave your comments down below. I'd totally love to check those out. But anyway, I just think that's really interesting. I think along with VR technology, I think gaming is moving into a mainstream area of our pop culture, to where I think in the next 5 or 10 years you probably will totally see MLG or other gaming news broadcast stations go into the mainstream, and you'll probably see them on TV, and it'll probably integrate into our culture super well. So I think that it's definitely an interesting proposition, and I think this Activision Blizzard buying MLG is only the start of what we can see in the future. And I think that's super interesting. I'd like to see where this is 5 or 10 years down the road. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. That's really the big question. Alrighty, and then for our final piece of news today was just something that was kind of personal to me in a way, and it was just something I kind of wanted to bring up and talk about since we're all here. And that third news story is that Hideo Kojima is to be inducted into the Gaming Hall of Fame. Now, for those of you who don't know, Hideo Kojima is the mastermind behind the great Metal Gear Solid series. He's also done the games Zone of the Enders. I think it's like a mech combat game. I'll be totally honest, I haven't played most of his games other than Metal Gear Solid because, I mean, come on, Metal Gear Solid's amazing. So, that was a piece of news I thought I would bring up. I'm not really a long-time fan of the Metal Gear Solid series, to be honest. I've only really super gotten into the games as of like 2 years ago or so. I worked with a manager who was a super big Metal Gear Solid fan, and he's been a fan ever since the games first came out, like Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, you name it. And basically he was telling me about how awesome this series was, and I told him I'd never played it before. So he let me borrow Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3, and then I bought Metal Gear Solid 1 at kind of like a mom and pop game store, and beat all 3 of them within the span of like a month and a half. And it was an awesome experience, honestly. Like, Metal Gear Solid 1 is probably one of my favorite games of all time. Like, that's how much I liked it, and that's how much it kind of resonated with me as a game. And I think they're really important games. I think if you lay out all of the games that have ever come out, every important one that there is that's broken new ground or new technology, I'd always put Metal Gear Solid up in the conversation for that instantly. And I think for any of you guys who are kind of in the newer generation of consoles who haven't ever played a Metal Gear Solid game, please do yourself a favor and play them, honestly. Whether it's Metal Gear Solid 5, the new one that just came out, or it's an older one, like Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, they're phenomenal games, and I definitely say probably any one of them, Metal Gear Solid 1 through 5, could be in the conversation easily for some of the best games of all time. So if you like incredible stealth games, if you like incredible action games, something that you can kind of not really run and gun, but more like stealth your way through, infiltrate bases, capture objectives and stuff like that. It's a very tactical based game. It's not like a Twitch shooter Call of Duty thing where you can just run around and blast guys' faces off. It's definitely something you have to take more of a slow approach to and kind of figure out the tactical way of how to do things, like especially in the fifth one. The fifth Metal Gear Solid is easily the most tactical of any of them, and I think has the best game mechanics of any game I've ever played, probably, honestly. And that's why I loved it so much this year. I think that's a big part of it. So Hideo Kojima definitely deserves the praise. I think there's an outlet that does this Gaming Hall of Fame thing. I'm not sure like what their name is exactly, but I didn't see any other names in there that were like noteworthy to me or anything like that. So Hideo Kojima being inducted into the Hall of Fame, I think, is an extremely big honor for that guy, and I think he deserves it. Especially with all of the hashtag fuck Konami stuff going on around, with him not being able to attend the video game awards, stuff like that is, kind of upsetting because he is one of the greatest video game developers of our time, and I think that was blatant disrespect on Konami's part. So anyway, guys, that was just the 3 stories I picked out for you. I'll run by them one more time. The first story was Oculus Rift is at a sell price of $600 out of the development phase. A second story today was that Activision Blizzard buys MLG for $46 million. Yes, that's million. And our third story was Hideo Kojima will be inducted into the Gaming Hall of Fame. Alrighty, guys, so those are our stories today. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this. I know it's been kind of a while since this has come out, and we have a couple new subscribers on our channel. So if this is your first time joining us, thanks so much for listening, guys. We really appreciate it. I know we crossed our goal for 50 subscribers until the end of the year was kind of our goal, and we exceeded that. So thanks so much, guys, for your support. And do me a favor, I like to start a discussion about things, so in the comments section if you'd like, or in Facebook comments, wherever you want to do that for our Facebook, let us know which of these stories means the most to you and what your opinion is on it. Do you think the Oculus Rift should be $600? Do you think it should be a little cheaper? And then explain maybe your reasoning behind that. Or maybe you're a big Blizzard fan, you're a big Activision Blizzard fan, and you're excited about the advent of MLG coming to the forefront and seeing it become the ESPN of gaming. Is that something you're kind of looking forward to? Is it something you're not looking forward to? Are you kind of a sports purist and you're like, oh, video games aren't sports? Hey, I mean, people have that opinion. I mean, I'm not saying either way. Whether you want to think that or not, it's up to you, man. And then, are you a big fan of Hideo Kojima? Do you like the Metal Gear Solid games? Are you more of a Zone of Enders kind of guy? Definitely let us go, guys. Let us know. But thanks so much for joining us on this short episode of Gaming News and Chill. And have a great day, guys. Bye.